and I believe you can see my laptop screen. You people can see the laptop screen, right? Just anyone can respond.
Yeah, I think I'm able to see it.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So here, I just opened a whiteboard, a format. When we are I'll send the material also for this, whatever I'm introducing right now in the subject here. I have material for that, but just I'm trying to give a presentation in this model. So when you're talking about the SAP, first we need to understand the segment of an ERP. Okay, it's an enterprise, resource, and planning. So when you're talking about enterprise resource planning, here we know what are the resources in the business, in the business line point of view. We have first resource money, man, machine. Now for the production activity and all, for the methodology, okay, so on. So in this case, what happens is when you look at around these resources, we find these are all scarce. These are all less in the nature. Okay, very little availability in the nature. So ERP, it is a bigger platform where it deals with the different types of resources and the planning horizons. When you're talking about the planning horizons, again, we know we have three dominant planning horizons, like say operational plan, tactical plan, and we have strategical plan. Okay, so operational is day to day, tactical is less than a year or two, and strategical plan more than a year, okay, for a longer period. So resources which are planned for the planning purpose within the enterprise. This particular software or this particular segment should support the software needs of the organization in resource planning. Okay, so that's a concept, that's a main idea of the ERP, which is in the global market. Now coming to the history of the ERP, to talk about ERP history, J.D. Edwards. J.D. Edwards is considered to be one of the oldest ERP, which has given the flavor of ERP in the open business market. Okay. Then we have other one called Bond. Then we have other one called Oracle to talk about. We have PeopleSoft. Okay. Likewise, we have many in-house developed products, in-house developments. Okay, in-house developed products. So before the origin of the SAP or introduction of the SAP, the market was like this. J.D. Edwards is considered to be the guru of the ERPs, or the product which has given the flavor in the ERP segment. And J.D. Edwards is specialized in the purchases activities, purchases of the purchase activities completely. And whereas the Bond, it is specialized in the production activities. And Oracle, it is specialized in the finance. And PeopleSoft specialized in human resource management or human resources. So when you're talking about in-house developed products, again we can say some examples, like say you take up some banks, they have their own operating software. You take up the stock holdings or stock market. Okay, even those, they have those operations also, they have their own softwares. So these are all ERPs, a bigger softwares. But when you are looking at the market, study and all, before the introduction of SAP, there was no such a product in the market which was equally good at all the areas, all the business areas, like purchases, production, finance, HR, sales, all these areas. So SAP, is been currently, it is a replacement for all, and it's a replacement for all, in these areas. So SAP been introduced, when you look at the history of the SAP, in 1972, first the product is been introduced, and it's been designed and developed by 5 IBM ex-employees. Okay, 5 IBM ex-employees, and in the 1972 it was introduced in the country Germany, and it was a failure in the market. So it couldn't meet the expectations of the ERP. So what they did is they had modified this, and again in 1977, I'm talking with respect to the finance. In 1977, they have introduced accounting concept called GAAP, GAAP, to the product, and they have developed it in, of course, like they have developed it in the Germany. So the introduction of the GAAP in the product has made it success. GAAP in it says like generally accepted accounting principles. So sorry, it has started gaining the market in the Germany. Slowly now the product it supports multiple countries GAAP with multiple languages, okay, and also with multiple currencies. That's the advantage of the SAP. We'll try to understand these things right now. We are working with the SAP now. So SAP is nothing but systems, applications, and products. System, applications, and products. Also, it has an extension of the definition in data processing. So when you're talking about the product, it is known as systems, different business systems, different business applications, and different business products all together pooled up in a single box. It is called SAP, systems, applications, and products in data processing. So this is the main thing. So if you look at any consultant who has been who is working in the SAP industry for quite a long time, if you ask or if you have a discussion with him, he will say that implementation or consulting experience, it only talks about data. If say suppose consultant, he is working for the implementation, what he is implementing? He is implementing the framework where it is supported to the data, right? The end user also, if you see the end user perspective, he is using the application to post the data. So data is main thing. Other than data, there is nothing in the business. Okay. So what is the business? What is the data here all about? It has 3 lines or 3 segments. Data is organizational data, master data, and transactional data. Okay. So organizational data, master data, and transactional data. So these are the combination. Organizational data, example, like say we have information of company, information of business area, okay, information of segment. So something like this, organizational units, like say purchase organization, sales organization. So these are all organizational units, okay, organizational data. Master data, these are nothing but general ledger accounts, vendor information, vendor master records, customer master records, asset master record, cost centers, like this. When you're talking about the transactional data, if I place this 1 and this as 2, transactional data is a combination of 1 plus 2 plus amount. So we'll understand this. For example, just a scenario sake, we are talking about a business event or a business transaction which has occurred in a company. That event is nothing but cash being deposited to bank, okay. Cash of, for example, 1,000 being deposited to bank. This is a business event, and this is done in a company called ABC, okay, at a place called at a branch called Dallas, okay, Dallas branch. Now this is the information which we have, okay. As we know that the end user will be posting the invoices and posting the transactional events and all, okay. This is the end user work. Now, when you're talking about these things, here if you look at this, the transactional data. What is the transactional data consisting of? It is consisting of organizational data. Okay, these are all business area and all company name, organizational data. It is consisting of master data. These are the masters, general ledger accounts. Okay, and this is of amount. So business event, it consists of organizational data, master data, and the amount. So that's nothing but the transactional data. So if you can understand, I'm again repeating the same sentence, if you can understand the data in the business, handling any module is easy. Okay, I'm not only talking about FS here. You talk about any SD or you talk about any logistics module or any other modules. If you understand what is the data, how the data and what is the data behavior, then handling any module will be easy. Okay, now we'll enter into the internal part of the SAP, the architecture and the other areas of SAP. Before entering the architecture, we'll see what is SAP module. Okay, we have heard this word module. Okay, module can be equal to a department with their functions. Okay, so in SAP all the modules are divided into two segments. One is technical, one is functional. So functional modules, technical modules. So technical modules further they can be classified into basis and ABAP. So basis, it is dealing with the installations of the product. Okay, installation, server maintenance, user administration. Okay, in user administration, user creation, user maintenance, user additions, user granting, these things. Likewise, upgrades. Okay, server upgrades and all those things. Technical, installation parts and all. When you're talking about the ABAP, it is considered to be, it is called as an official language which communicates the database. So ABAP is Advanced Business Application Programming Language. So it has various tools called LSNW, BDC, likewise ALE, ALV. Okay, we have forms, scripts. Okay, all this stuff. So these are all ABAP area. Now when coming to the functional area, as we know, like in any organization, finance is the backbone of the organization. So we have finance, we have sales. Sales is other side of the coin of the business. We have purchases, we have production, we have human resource management. Okay, and likewise plant maintenance, and so on. So near about 64 plus modules are there. Okay, now there is a direct relationship between each module. Okay, direct relationship between each module is nothing but establishing the connection or a data flow, free flow of the data between the departments. That is what we call integration point. So here FI is directly integrated to sales, FI is directly integrated to purchases. Sales are directly integrated to production planning as well as the material masters. Okay, material masters, material management. I mean to say purchase department. This means purchase department. Like finance is directly integrated with human capital management. Earlier we used to call this as HR. Now we are calling this as HCM. Okay. Now this is a small flow of the integration here. And controlling area is part of every module. Okay. Controlling area, part of every module. So why we are coming with this statement is, in controlling area, the whole idea of the controlling department or the controlling area is related to cost. Cost is a major factor or major running factor for the controlling part. So if you look at any department, there is an involvement of cost, either administrative cost or the process cost or the business cost or the service cost. So cost is getting involved. So whenever there is a cost getting involved in a department, there is a existence of the controlling area. So this is a general business understanding. Okay. Now we'll be trying to understand what is this FI, what is this CO, what is it has to offer. Okay, we'll try to understand these things.
Yeah, 1 minute, Shekhar.
Yes.
I was wondering, any questions so far? Anybody?
No, we are good.
Okay.
Sandy? Sandeep?
Yeah, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, very good.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Now here, FICO. So we know like it is FI is finance and CO is controlling. Now if you look this as in this way, now we have some content to discuss about, but I'll put it in another way, since we have a couple of our members who are not coming from the accounting background. So this finance and controlling, these are known as, this is called as external reporting, and this is called as internal reporting. Okay. So external accounting, internal accounting, whatever the term you put it, but it is the whole idea is this is external, this is internal. Okay. Here, just a minute. Okay. Here, when you're talking about the finance area, we are working with the, under this finance, we have enterprise structure. That's other area segment, enterprise structure. Apart from this enterprise structure, in finance, we are working with the financial accounting global settings. What are required for the financial accounting? The standard settings, okay, global settings, irrespective of the country, irrespective of the business. So these settings are mandatory, FAGS. And then we have general ledger accounting. We have accounts receivables, accounts payables area, and asset accounting area. Okay, standard. These are all standard and mandatory to have a knowledge on these configurations and the business lines. So these are the FI segments. And when you look at the controlling area, we have controlling configuration, okay, controlling enterprise structure, and we have cost element accounting, cost center accounting, internal orders, profit center accounting. These are the standard one. Apart from this, we have product costing and COPA, okay, profitability analysis, profitability controlling, that also could be called as. So these two areas are regularly not covered up in the training. The reason is it requires other modules information. The resources who are working in the production activities and who had the knowledge in the sales and distribution and logistics areas can understand completely what is product costing and what is COPA. Other persons may not understand that easily because it requires a lot of knowledge in the business production process, like what is a BOM, what is a routing, what is the work centers, all these technical areas. So, but what I do is generally I'll take up intensely all these areas. Along with that, I'll give a complete overview of these configurations because that is included in my training methodology. Apart from this, we'll be dealing with the integration. Integration, as I told you, like FI with FI with SD, FI with MM, likewise FI with asset accounting, FI with CO, okay, the integral integration part. And our core strength will be here, the methodology, okay, ASAP methodology. I'm giving the methodology, which is a standard methodology ASAP, and we'll be working intensely on the 5 phases of the implementation. Along with this is a private session for me, so I can show little bit of documentation work also. How each phase, what is the document which is getting involved, how the format of the document, what is the gist of the document, and what is the role, who is the role person who will be preparing these documents. We'll be working intensely to this ASAP methodology. This is a general course which we generally prefer, but what I was coming across is like most of the cases, a resource who is being trained on this FICO, of course we know they will be placed in the project either for the development or for the support in these areas. So I am trying to make my resources whom I am training, I am trying to make them more productive. So what I am doing is I am doing one more additional tool. I have included one more additional tool in the training methodology, LSNW. Okay, this is a standard tool, a web tool, which is used for data migration. So let me give you an idea on this data migration part. LSMW, it's a legacy system migration workbench. It is known as legacy system migration workbench. For example, as we know, in the organization, we have different types of data. Okay, organizational data, master data, transactional data. Now, in our case scenario, there is a company called ABC, and it is using Oracle currently. And due to some reasons, it is not satisfied with Oracle. It wants to move to SAP. Now, there is a sequence of process which we will be doing in implementation. Documentation work will be more, consulting work will be more, and then development work will be more. So once we have developed the framework, for example, this is Oracle and this is SAP. Okay. So the structures are different. You see, the structures are different. Now there is some data here. This data is for, assuming that this is the form of a data for organizational. And this is a data format for master data. Okay. Now we want to bring this data into SAP. Okay, records. We are talking about records, number of records. For example, we have thousands of customer records. So thousands of customer records, to type them, it requires a lot of time. Okay, to type them into SAP, it requires a lot of time. So if we have a medium which can transport the data from legacy system to SAP in a workbench model, then it will be helpful for us to upload the data, thousands of records or millions of records into SAP in a very less time. So for example, we are picking up this organizational data. This is in this format, and SAP supports this format. So to bring this data into this format, we will be using some flat files or some techniques. Okay, there are some techniques. At the whole, there is one area called LSNW which will be used for data migrations. So what happens in the implementations is FI tables or FI area information, ABAPers who are using this actual tool, okay, this tool is used by ABAPers. We're not good at FI tables or controlling tables. So what happens is there is a point where a functional consultant support is supported to the ABAPer. So what I was thinking is why don't we train our FI resources in technical area also, so that there will be no dependency of the ABAPer for the data migrations, and another side of the coin, the resource will be more predictable for finance, for controlling, as well as for the data migrations along with the implementation phases. Okay, implementation phases means project preparation, blueprinting, and all the stuff. So I was making this model in mind, and then I had implemented it, and so this is a good combination actually. I have seen my resources working in different areas in the project. So assuming that there is no FI requirement now, you have joined the company within 3 months, there is no FI requirement, developments have been done. So obviously company think, what is the next for this resource, right? What will be the next for the resource? So after development is done, data migration will be the next stage. So when you put up that you have the experience in data migrations using the tool, standard tool, obviously the company will be thinking that this resource can be put in the data migration project. So there are different third-party tools which are used for data migrations, but since we are learning the SAP in a standard way, we are using SAP standard tool called LSNW. Okay, so this is about the training things and the content here. Along with the training sessions, every session end, I'll be sending the handouts, some materials, okay, where you can learn in the dialogues. It is given in a clear, descriptive manner. Directly the summary, the lines of that is picked from the SAP help menu. So nothing I had created, I had just copied and pasted and did some modification to the data. So we have session-wise materials. Along with this, I'll be taking up some presentation points, and this also will be shared. This is one side. Other side is like every session, and every periodically, to ensure that the learner is learning properly. The whole methodology will be like it is covering like a topic will be given, and the consultant, the learner who is learning that side, he needs to give a presentation to a particular topic in a particular area for about at least 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, as if you are presenting yourself to client, and you have been given an assignment to present your topic to the client. Okay, so that gives a clear idea how to handle the client and how to face the client situations. That's another model. So this is about the training part. If you have any questions for this, please ask me.
Okay, everybody has to ask at least one question. Come on, guys. Or I'll start asking you guys questions. Come on, Ashok, and come on, Sandy. I'm sure you guys don't understand everything. It's okay to ask questions. And,
So far, yeah, understood well. So I don't have a question.
Okay.
sorry, what questions? You don't have any questions?
No, I don't have. I understood easily whatever he said at all.
Okay, let me ask you this. So do you know the org data, or what are the three types of data he showed?
The organizational data and enterprise data and organizational master data and another one.
Transaction data.
Transaction data.
Transaction data. So do you understand what org data is, Sandeep? Sure, you can mute your phone.
Okay.
Sandeep?
Yeah, can you repeat?
Do you understand what has happened?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What is organization data?
It's about, let's say if you have a company, you know what company is all about, the business functions of the company. Let's say an example like he's given an ABC company and it's in Dallas, so ABC and Dallas is organization data.
Good.
Okay. Fantastic. I think Mr. Rao, I think you should be a little bit comfortable since you would have seen these concepts.
Sure. I am. This session is quite good.
Okay.
You have any questions for me? I can answer. I'll try to answer.
No, I'll come with a couple of scenarios with you because you have some banking industry experience, right? In the coming future,
Yes, I do.
In the coming future, I'll make sure that we are getting interacted more on the business line, scenarios wise.
Okay. Sure.
So I'll just continue further. I have something to discuss also.
Yeah, one thing, Shekhar, can you just double click on that home? And I think the ribbon will go away and it will be easier for us to see. If you double click on home.
1 second.
Yeah, and then you can change the portrait of the page to landscape, and then we'll be able to see it entirely. So.
No, however, it is white page only that I'm writing on this. So whether it's a landscape or this line is also okay, right?
Okay.
No, actually I have other whiteboard, but so I don't know, something went wrong today morning. It was not opening. So I thought, okay, I can use this Microsoft Word. Fine. So here we'll try to understand the architecture of SAP. Okay, why I'm talking about the architecture of SAP at this moment of time is next topic I want to cover up is like what are the roles, different types of users for SAP. Okay, so in that we have different user called consultant, we have user called the end user. So we'll differentiate between these two areas. So architecture, as you have seen, SAP R3. Okay, there is a term called R3. You can Google it also. SAP, when you type SAP, it talks about R3 also. So R here, it stands with real time, and 3, it stands for 3-tier architecture. Okay. So when you're talking about R3, we need to understand what is this 3-tier architecture, and priorly what was the other architectures which was available in the product. Okay. So let's say 3-tier, 2-tier, and single tier. So when you're talking about this, first tier was like the software SAP was installed in a standalone system. Okay, in a single system the software was installed, and the developments and what are the necessary things which are taken place, the storage also is done in the single standalone systems. And IBM, this was prepared for IBM mainframes. Okay, not IBM, mainframe structure. I don't know how many of you people have some working experience with mainframes. In mainframes, you have the transaction code concept, T code concepts. Okay, so using the T code, you can jump into the screen and we can work work with that. So transaction code concept is done in the mainframes. Now, after a period, there was the introduction of the 2-tier architecture, because standalone system will never give a survival or it will never give a purpose to survive. So came the second tier, 2-tier architecture. 2-tier architecture is nothing but it's a client server architecture. Okay, this is server located and multiple clients, client 1, client 2 connected. Okay, so this is client server architecture. And 3-tier architecture came into picture later. Okay, this 3-tier architecture also looks like a server 2-tier architecture, but it's quite a bit different here. We have 3-tier architecture called as, okay, you can remember this catchy word, PAD. Okay, PAD. So it is having presentation layer, application layer, and database layer. So the technology is like they have developed a area 3-tier architecture technology called as having a presentation layer, application layer, and database layer. The user can connect to different layers directly, and they can work in the development of the requirements. So 3-tier architecture, it has 3 layers: presentation, application, and database. Database, as we know, it is Oracle. Application, okay, we have finance applications, is sales applications, likewise. And presentation layer, GUI, graphical user interface. Okay, I'll show the particular product also after this, and I'll explain it once again. Just for the information sake, this is the thing, 3-tier architecture. And you might be thinking about how the implementation goes on, the term called implementation. Okay, because it's a magic term. Most of the persons who are learning this particular SAP, they they try to understand what is implementation. Okay, that is the foremost thing. So to understand that, first we'll see what is the roles given for the users, then we'll think about the implementation. So when you talk about users, two types of users will be there. One, the end users who are using the product, okay, and one, the consultants who are developing the product for the end users. Now we as a consultants will be developing the products which will be used by the different levels of the users, like end user, key user, and power users. Okay. So our role is a different role. This end user roles is different roles. To develop this business requirements, FICO area, we are talking to, we are limiting to FICO. There is two levels of knowledge which a consultant should have so that he can survive. As a developer, what we need to have is either we should be strong in the application side or we should be strong in the domain side. Okay. So application is like, you should be very good in the development side of configuration side of the, business requirement. This way you can survive in the market for a longer time. And if you have a domain knowledge, if you don't have the application knowledge, also you can survive in this, SAP line. So my responsibility would be, I'll be giving 100% of this application, and I'll be giving most of the time I'll be talking about the domain area, how these functions are working, why these functions are working, and how to remember these functions, because I see a couple of you people coming from non-accounting backgrounds. So I'll take that responsibility also to give you the idea on what is exactly the particular unit is dealing with and how it is dealing with. Okay, so that you can survive for in this SAP line, FICO particularly, for a longer period. Okay. Now when you're talking about the implementations, of course again we have different types of implementation, end-to-end, roll-up, enhancements. These are different types of implementation projects. We'll talk little later, but we'll see the product, client architectures. Okay. SAP product. It comes with a system or client called development client and testing client, or we can also call this as QAS. Okay. So this is by default the product comes with. Okay, only two servers or two clients. We can say this as a client. Okay, client has two meanings. In functional business meaning is he is our the other company who is giving a business. Okay, and the technical area is it's a within the software, within the server we have one segment. Okay, that's a client. So we're talking about the technical meaning of the client. The product comes with the development server or development client and the QAS, testing client. And implementation, this is the initial product. Okay, implementation is done in development client, or we'll make a copy of this development client and we make it as a sandbox, or we copy it further and we make for other, if the business requirement is demanding one more client, then we'll create it a one more client. Okay, one more. And developments are done in this fashion. Okay, mostly the developments are done to the development client, and any scenarios which needs a testing or approvals for the new enhancements or developments will be done in the QAS area, testing area. Once everything is set, once the configuration is agreed and approved, it will be sent to the production client. What is this production client? This is the final client where we hand over it to our business or our client. So this production client, it is also a copy of the development client. Once the configuration is built, for example, we have built up this configuration, okay, in the development client, and it is not like that we will be again developing it. Okay, again we will be configuring. It is nothing like that. We send these developments to the production client. So this production client is finally handover. Now you as a consultant in an interview or in a client interaction, when they were asking, when they will be asking you about your past implementation experience, generally what you say is like they may ask you what is the client architecture, I mean server architectures. So system landscape, this is what we call the term called system landscape. What is the system landscape of your client? Then you can answer that we have three server architecture. Okay, this is called three server architecture. One is development, one is QAS, one is production client. If you have one more client here created, then four server architecture. Okay, likewise development, these areas are very critical to understand as a consultant, and this requires no functional domain knowledge. It is a pure SAP knowledge. Okay, so I'll also show you how the transportations are done from development to the production client. Okay, this is called as STMS, SAP Transport Management System. Fine. So this is a complete model here of this training. So before closing this, what I'll do is I'll show the SAP logon screens, and we'll see some login activity for the SAP part. See, yeah, yes, fine. See, this is SAP logon. This is also called as a GUI, okay, graphical user interface. So it's been developed here, and when you double click, you have the technical person, he will be giving the server access, I mean server IP details and all. Okay, once these have been installed at your end, when you double click this hyperlink, a page, login page opens up. So if you see, this is nothing new actually. It is something like an email, username and a password. Only the thing is like the GUI is different, and we have something called client here and a language. Okay, so here user, like in my case, I have a user called FSUA user1, and he had a password also. Fine. This is the initial screen of the login. Okay, if you see, it is known as easy access screen. It is easy to access. Okay, easy to access. So this is a screen, and we have one more screen called as IMG screen. Okay, IMG screen means implementation guide screen. Okay, 1 second. So these are the two screens, or two different types of menus where the users will be working with. This easy access screen, it is used by the end users of the company who are posting the business transactions, who are doing the planning data, all the requirements. And this IMG screen is the consultant screen. We as a consultant will be working intensively and developing the business requirements in this consulting screen or implementation guide screen. Okay, as per the SAP, the terminology is it is IMG screen, display IMG, and this is easy access. But generally, in the practical understanding, this is the end user screen, this is the consultant screen. Okay, so in this case, we as a consultant will be developing these areas. Okay, like for example, I want to develop one organizational data configuration. So likewise, we'll navigate, we'll open up, like for example, business area, a small one. Okay, then adding a new entry of the business, we'll say that this is, and some now, and when you're saving the data here, it is prompting for the customizing request number, and when you save the data in this customization request number, or you will be creating a new one in the implementation every time when you're saving the configuration. Once it is there, you enter it. Data is saved. Now the data is saved at a two level, one at a database level and one at the transport request number level. And there will be in the later course, once the configuration is approved by the consultants and by the client, this data will be moved from this development client called 800 to production client, the other number. For example, 000 is known as a production client. So we are sending this data to the production client. This is done through a mode called Transportation Management System, STMS. I'll talk about that also little later in the course. So this is about this. Any questions, or you would like to ask me, or do I need to take up few more areas in these topics? Just let me know.
Nothing as of now.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, go ahead, Shekhar.
Yeah. So quickly let me show you, the content here. I'll do one thing. I'll just email the course content, or if you have any course content which you want me to take up also, I can take up. That's not a problem actually. I'll send my course content, standard one, and apart from that,
Yeah, I was just wondering, can you just show them just, one FI document, either, some accounting doc, B03 or whatever, and then just show them, at least they can see the screen from the context of the user.
Yes. See, because the whole idea is like we are developing this as a consultant, but now I had shown the configuration as a consultant. Since you're asking me to show the end user screen also, I'll show one posting screen scenario. Okay, let's, for example, we have some. Okay, see, I'm posting some general invoice F-02. Okay, this is one view of posting the transaction, the end user. Okay, we are talking about the end user work, not our consulting work. So here the end user is trying to post the invoice, and the same layout, it is also given another transaction code that is called as FB50. So I'll take up this two, I'll show this two scenarios. In the future also you can use the one which is comfort for you in a posting scenario, because however after developing the development, we'll test our developments with posting a scenario. Okay, so these are the two different layouts, F-02 or FB50. Here I'll take this. Okay, this is actually advanced level of advanced user of posting, and this is quite easy for me to take up. Here, document date, a posting date, a document type, a company code which is the business is originated, and the currency. Fine. So after this we will be, let me see what account I have. Okay, just a minute. I'll prepare one model here. So okay, fine. Now here I'm trying to, the scenarios, the end user is trying to post an expenses which is a stationary expenses of 500, and he's creating through bank. Okay, so debiting the expenses, here stationary expenses, enter. There is some point here in the server, someone has changed the standard interval. Okay, Okay, number range intervals is missing here. Fine. Anyway, so you may not understand what is this exactly what I am doing now, but later once we start up, you will understand this. Now fine, I'm trying to post the transaction here. Okay, we had given the account and all. Now amount, let's say 500, and text. Some narration here along with the business area. Now 50, we are creating the corresponding account. Okay. Amount star, the value date of the transaction, business area, value date of the transaction. Here it is 02/4/5/15. Okay, and text is plus. So document simulate. This is the journal entry view, cross-checking the entry. The end user is cross-checking the entry here. You had seen that the posting is stationary to bank. So this is how the document gets posted. Okay. So to see the document which is posted, of course we have many other ways to see. Easiest way is to in the posting screen select document and display. So it shows you the recent document which got posted. When you double click on the line, it shows you the voucher. This is called as a voucher which has been entered. Okay, voucher details which is entered in the screen. So this is how the end user gets transactions gets posted, okay, by him. And we have seen we have just seen that there is a transaction which got posted. To make this transaction posted, we need to at least we need to develop 20 to 30 configurations. Then only this posting is possible. So we as a consultant, we develop the business environments, and the end user, he will be posting the business transactions. Okay, is that okay?
Yeah, I think this is fair enough understanding. Do you guys have any questions, guys, so far? Whatever you've seen on the screen, can you relate to it? Sandeep? Sandeep, are you there in the meeting?
And then here, I mean, we can relate in the sense, I think it is too early for me, but I understand what